Here they come! Oh man, then Trainz. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and jump right into this. We got deck profiles, we got amazing hype duels. Just watch it. Let's go ahead and watch some Trainz, because I know we finally got him here in the TCG and we never really got to see them in action. They won a lot of the different things in the OCG, but man, this deck is really cool. There's so many really great rank 10 monsters that I think a lot of you guys will be excited to mess around with. And don't worry, I'll give you guys a deck profile, but I'm going to showcase some pretty hype duels for you guys so you guys can see kind of how the deck plays and you guys can maybe learn the basics of the deck. But overall, it's a relatively budget-friendly deck. Like, there's not too many cards that are like, $100+, you know, talking to some of those other cards that we get in certain formats. Like, for the most part, like Roofing Rail card, which is probably one of the best cards in the deck. It's just a really simple effect. I'm going to go ahead and go over some of the, effects just so some of you guys can look at that Galaxy Ice Cipher Dragon, that new card. It's got no matchup against Trainz. So, Roofing Rail card, one of, like, the better cards in the deck. So, you can just inflict 500 burn damage to your opponent. It can be relevant sometimes. You can't conduct your battle phase. But during the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you have to add one level 10 Earth Machine type monster from your deck to your hand. So it's a relatively decent, effect. You just be able to add any, level 10 Earth. But it's funny, he bailers the wrong door, buddy, because watch what this guy makes. Like, this guy's like, oh, don't worry. I'm going to get out my blue eyes. I'll be good to go. He's going to go ahead and resummon that card. But this guy doesn't care. Watch what he does. This is some pretty hype stuff over here. Just busts out all the Kaijus, gets rid of all his stuff, goes ahead and makes another Tarantula, gets rid of all of the monsters. He's got monster 10,000 attack, 9,800. After that attack, guys, he would have just had so much attack. It didn't matter. Like, he had game on board right there. That's the power of Trainz. If you guys like OTK decks, or even decks that have a lot of ability to kind of stun your opponent, you can make this other card in the deck. I'm just going to go ahead and just go over some of the cards. Well, actually, we got to go ahead and swap. Once it swaps the correct person. Now, like, Trainz are much better in tag duels. When you want to do 2v1s, you can carry people with Trainz. Like, as you guys will see in some of these replays, they do carry, like, 1v2s, and it is pretty hype. But anyways, you have, okay, not this one. I was supposed to highlight over Dora. Where's Dora? There we go. Dora the Explorer over here. So, number 81 is really like the stall, like, you ain't gonna beat me kind of card. When you make two of these, you usually, like, win the game. It's very difficult for most decks to do anything when you have two number 81s on board, because once per turn during either player's turn, you can detach one material from this card, then target a face-up monster on the field. That target is unaffected by card effects, except for its own effects, until the end of its turn. It's a really, really strong card, but just watch what the deck pulls off. It is pretty awesome. He makes a Gustav Max, burns him for a little bit of damage, then he's able to attack. Keep in mind, this card can still attack, so it's very good. But then a Divine Serpent was summoned, but it didn't really matter because, he was able to get rid of that by attributing it with the Kaiju. Now, he still has a Kaiju on board, end phase decree activated, but just watch these plays, man. Instant Fusion activated. Going for the Elder God, you're going to go ahead and bring back the Trick Clown, and then he's going to go ahead and get rid of some of the attack, absorb it, then he's going to mass change, bust out Koga over here, and he goes ahead and attacks, and he attacks again. But one day a Pepperoni was activated, so no damage dealt right there. Raigeki activated, Tuner Gum over here. I remember when they announced this card that we made a deck that revolved around it. It had a little bit of potential, but Synchros, they're just not doing too hot. As they once were. But anyways, he summons the Plague Spreader, summons the Duracrane. He's going to go ahead and make that Spider. Look at how much attack this Plague Spreader has. He has a Spider with 10,000 attack. He's got a Plague Spreader with 10,000 attack. So I know a lot of you guys like, ridiculous monsters attacks. Like, you guys like those OTKs, FTKs. You guys like some of that kind of stuff. So, I mean, Trainz, I don't think it's realistic to FTK. Yes, you can do it. It involves a loop with the Gustav Max, you just keep on burning. But for the most part, it's not something that you're going to be making. I don't know if you, okay, well, this one over here is just straight up Shaddoll Magicians. Pretty cool mix-up over here. But, yeah, you can do a lot of different things with Trainz. And Kaijus actually work pretty well with them, as you guys can see. It can get rid of problematic cards. Dealing with Cyber Dragons, it's Cyber Dragon Infinity and also the ABCs. So going into the future, guys, this deck still has a lot of potential once ABCs come out. Now, if you guys didn't know, in the OCG, that's pretty much one of the main decks. It's definitely the top 3 without a doubt. So Kaijus, we have them in the TCG, so that really helps combat them. And the OCG guys, they don't have access to that. They've been doing Satan Claws, or Santa Claus as it's called in TCG. There's even some people that are citing Lava Golems to deal with that like main combo. The main combo being the ABC and also the Cyber Dragon Infinity Tournament, because it's a really strong field, and it's not that hard to make. I like how the guy's got the Thunder King, man. Old school Thunder King. Still a pretty decent card, but like the card's out one. Not going to be doing any good. And I like how he activates the anti-spell, but he was able to actually draw a card off of that. So that worked out. Even though Decree was up, unfortunately he can't really do too much in this position, because yeah, you can't summon the Metal Reflex Slime. Like, you couldn't run the Metal Reflex Slime in Trainz, because trap monsters do count. So yeah, if you want to throw that into the Shaddoll Train deck, feel free to go ahead and try it out, guys. But overall, I think it is a little bit slow, and Trainz already have, you know, the little bit of a slow game mechanic when you introduce Railcar, which has to wait. But nonetheless, it's still decent. You know, he goes ahead and attacks with Torrigetto. He's able to save his card, and pretty much at this point, you guys can see that it's not going to be looking too good for him. He's a Shaddoll Winded with 11,000 attack, Spider with 9,000, 11,000 Ruffian Railcar. Like I said, like, the deck is looking pretty good to mess around with. I don't want to say it's like tier 1, you know, it's not going to be something that competes with the meta. But keep in mind, guys, if that ban list comes around, right, and let's say a lot of the decks get hit, let's say like they put Dante to 1 or something like that. I mean, the world's ban list has him at 1. You know, a lot of the different decks get hit, right? Hey, at that point, you never know. Like, Shaddoll Trainz could be potentially meta, because we never got to play with them. And, like, Konami, hey, you want to give us one construct? Because I feel like that's all Shaddolls really need to give them that boost of people, you know, wanting to play the deck. But yeah, I just want to show you guys, this is the last replay, and then we'll jump into the deck profile. So some of you guys want to build the deck, I got you. So yeah, we have 2 different builds. Activates Curse Seal of the Forbidden Spell. Dang, that's an old school card. It actually gets rid of all of them. Well, it makes it so they can't activate any of those cards for the rest of the duel, even if they draw them. So that's really cool. It kind of hurts them. And then like this card, like, it just becomes absolutely crazy. Like, look at this. The guy just quits. He's like, yo, I got 2 Spiders with 11,000 attack. I've got a Battleful Armors with 13,000 attack. Like, you're at the point where you're about to one-shot someone. This guy's got 14,000 attack. You can one-shot someone in a tag duel. Like, that's how crazy it is. But anyways, thanks both B for sending in this. Well, both of you guys for sending in the replay. I appreciate it for you guys sending in the replay. But anyways, let me go ahead and show you guys some of the decks. Now, there's 2 different builds. These are their builds. So we have the Trainz, and then we got Trainz 2. So keep in mind, you guys can go ahead and try whichever one you want. I'll mouse over the cards and kind of talk a little bit about them. But I think most of the stuff is pretty self-explanatory. But if you guys want to go ahead and give each other suggestions and stuff like that, feel free to go ahead and do so. So anyways, let's get started with the first build over here. So we have 3 copies of the Jizu Kiru, the Star Destroying Kaiju. We got 3 copies of Night Express Knight. Then we got Heavy Freight Train Duracane, 3 copies of that. 2 copies of Exodius, the Ultimate Forbidden Lord. 2 copies of the Spider, we'll call him the Spider Kaiju. And then we got 1 Shaddoll Beast, 1 Dragon, 3 Ruffian Railcar. And then we got Squamata, Hedgehog, and that's it for the monsters. You guys can play Mathematicians. I believe in the other build there was a Mathematician. Yeah, Mathematician is also a pretty decent card in there, because you can just send Ruffian Railcar, then search during the end phase, so you don't really need to wait for it. Then we have a Regeki, triple Shaddoll Fusions, 1 Soul Charge, triple Terraforming, 3 copies of Disrupted Kaiju Dream, 2 copies of Chalice, 1 Twin Twister, 3 Revolving Switchard, because it's really important in the deck, Vanities, and oh, he actually plays the Metal Reflex Slime in there. And then we got the Skill Drain. For the extra deck, this one played 2 copies of Shekanaga, 1 Winda, 2 copies of 7 Sins, 1 copy of Pain Gainer, 1 Super Dimensional Robot Galaxy Destroyer. Pretty much you never bust this out, but if you can bust it out, it is hype. Then we have the Gang Raida, and then we got 2 copies of number 81, the Dora the Explorer. Then we got 2 copies of Gustav Max. Then we got 2 copies of number 35 and Castell. And I think these are probably cards that he tried out. At one point, you could see he was definitely trying out the other build, which actually plays a Cyber End Dragon to bust out the Malefic one, which is actually in this build, because you guys needed this card so bad. It isn't that bad of an idea to throw in at least 1 Malefic, because it's really, in my personal opinion, I think that it's a 4K beater. Like, even Skill Drain can be good in this deck also. I think, yeah, the other build played it. Yeah, he did play it. Skill Drain is really good because you just, you know, have a 3K beater. Pretty good. But anyways, yeah, this one's playing 2 copies of Malefic Cyber End. 3 copies of the Star Destroying Kaiju, 3 copies of Night Express, 3 copies of Duracrane. This one's playing 3 copies of the Mad Flame Kaiju, 2 copies of the Spider Kaiju, 3 Roofing Railcar, and Mathematician. Then we got the Regeki, Soul Charge, Triple Terraforming, Triple Special Schedule, 3 copies of Disrupted Kaiju Dream, 1 Book of Moon Triple Lance, 3 copies of Revolving Switchyard, and 2 copies of Decree. Now, Lance just keeps your monsters alive because all of these monsters are so valuable that, you know, if you keep them alive, you're more than likely going to be able to OTK, so I think that's a great addition to the deck. I know the other build we saw Twin Twisters. Now, it's up to you guys on that. Personally, for me, I think that they're both very, very viable options because, you know, sometimes when you're going for your plays, they might disrupt it halfway through. Now, Torrential Tribute isn't a huge card right now. You know, Torrential Tribute is a really good card, but if you guys look at, you know, the decks right now, people aren't really playing Torrential Tribute, so Forbidden Lance could be okay in that aspect, because the problem sometimes with running Lance over Twin Twisters is you need to, you know, protect 2 monsters, and Forbidden Lance only offers the protection of 1 monster. So, like I said, I don't think anyone's really playing Torrential right now in the meta. I mean, there might be a few decks, but for the most part, traps, with the exception of like the Solemn lineup, they're kind of obsolete right now in the metagame. As far as the extra deck, we got Cyber End Dragons, double of those obviously to support 2 of those, and then we got number 77, and then we got Pain Gainer, then C9 Chaos Dyson Sphere, triple 81, triple Gustav Max, triple Ravenous Tarantula, and 1 Castell. But for the most part, guys, I think you guys could easily drop these down to 2 too. I feel like you could even drop this to 2. Other, you know, cards that I can just recommend for you guys. I mean, I still think 101 is randomly really good. At certain times, and even Cowboy can, you know, game people. You also have Roofing and Railcar, keep that in mind. You can burn them, and you just can't conduct your battle phase. Maybe you can burn them again with a Cowboy. You know, certain times, tag duels, you know, maybe you get your opponent's monster. Or for whatever reason, you have the ability to go into Cowboy. It could be nice. Like, I just feel like you don't really need triple, you know, some of these cards. Obviously, if you're playing the loop version, then yeah, you could maybe run other things. But overall, pretty fun deck. Have some fun with Trainz, guys. And I really appreciate both of you guys for sending me the replays as well as giving me the deck profiles. Because yeah, it's a pretty fun deck, relatively budget friendly, I would say. I don't think there's anything that's really expensive in here. But yeah, have some fun with it. And it could be a good deck if everything gets hit on that ban list. Maybe Trainz tier 1? I don't know, boys. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. And if you enjoyed it, make sure you guys give that like button a titty slap. I'm signing out.